It's a tale of two homes. Record show State Representative Alan Williams owns this home on Stony Creek Way in Tallahassee's Buck Lake area, a home he admits is not in his 8th House District. Records also show Williams is part owner with two relatives of this home on Olive Avenue in his district.
Can you tell me where you live? Which one of these places do you live? I mean, it's a simple question. Where do you sleep at night?
Well, I tell you, it's hard to sleep when you're fighting for a district 8.
Should someone who represents a district actually live in that district, in your opinion?
Well, I believe that, again, as we look at the intent of whether members are duly qualified, you have to look at, are they vested in the community?
The state constitution requires lawmakers to reside in areas they represent. But Leon County Election Supervisor Ian Sancho says there's another problem.
Unfortunately, the Florida legislature has decided not to define residency.
Records show Williams is getting a $50,000 property homestead tax exemption given for a primary residence for his Buck Lake home.
This says this is your primary residence. Is that not accurate?
Well, again, Andy, like I said, I've met the intent of the House rule to make sure that one is duly qualified to be seated in the House of Representatives.
Williams says that House rule is you need to be a registered voter in your district. County documents show he is.
I understand that there's a political back and forth by Senator Jack Latvala. I have a home in District 8, and I have a home that's here in Tallahassee.
But you live in one of those, right? I mean,
I live in both.
You live in both, so you split time between the two.
I live in both. I've spent time in both homes.
Wakulla County Sheriff's Deputy Richard Moon is facing an internal investigation for this Facebook post. Commenting on the Ferguson protesters, it says in part, "Squash them all." Eyewitness News has exclusively obtained these records showing it's not the first time Moon has been investigated for a racially charged incident. 4 days before Christmas in 2009, Moon walked into the subway inside the Crawfordville Walmart. 4 black teenage boys told sheriff's investigators Moon, while wearing his sheriff's office jacket, confronted them stating, "Who said the N-word?" The statements say Moon told the teens he was armed and threatened to shoot them and called them a bunch of N's. Given what happened recently and then what happened a few years back, that there would be a pattern. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I would.
We went to Moon's home for comment, but a neighbor said he wasn't home. In his statement about the incident, Moon admitted to using the N-word and swearing multiple times. State Attorney Investigator Josh Newland and FDLE both was determined Moon was not criminally responsible. However, records show Moon was put on probation for 3 months, issued a written reprimand, ordered to undergo counseling, and was transferred from road patrol to corrections officer. Sheriff Creel returned Moon to road patrol in 2013 with an increase in pay.
He's the one in charge. Anything anybody does is a direct reflection on him. It does reflect badly on me, but I really can't comment on it because it is an active investigation.
It was a major project, 50,000 linear square feet of fence with more than 24 gates around the Tallahassee airport. It was a pilot project to keep out wildlife and secure the airport. A Federal Aviation Administration grant of nearly $1.6 million covered most of the more than $1.8 million cost. The main contractor was a Tallahassee company called Sandco. Sandco accepted a bid of just over $1.4 million from Florida Fence and Deck to be the subcontractor.
It would have been the biggest job that we had ever done as a company at the time, yeah.
But the start time for the project dragged on for about 6 months due to a dispute. And by the time Sandco was given the green light, Florida Fence and Deck had a problem. In this March 2003 letter to Sandco, Jay Kelly noted the company's materials and workers' comp costs had escalated since its original bid. As a result, Kelly increased Florida Fence's bid by 3%, but then Sandco complained.
We agreed to do it for the original bid price.
But you still didn't get it?
No. We did not get it.
Kelly says Sandco notified him the morning of the pre-construction meeting a different contractor was getting the job. That company was Phoenix Construction and Fencing. It was so new, Phoenix didn't even exist when Sandco was already warning Florida Fence to maintain its bid price in August 2002. Phoenix opened for business that November. By contrast, Florida Fence had already been in business 20 years at that point.
They really didn't have much in the way of experience at that point, right?
Not that we knew of. We had never heard of them.
What Kelly later found out is longtime Tallahassee attorney Harold Knowles started Phoenix Construction and Fencing. Knowles was the law partner of Tallahassee Mayor John Marks at that time. His company landed the job shortly after Marks was first elected mayor. The Phoenix Articles of Incorporation list the Knowles, Marks, and Randolph law office, address, and phone number. Harold Knowles declined an on-camera interview. However, he told us by phone Sandco's Steve Gasvini approached him about the airport fence project. Knowles said it was an important job for his startup company, and he said, quote, "I never got a single job through John Marks."
We were told at the time if we had held if we would honor our original bid price, that we would get the job.
Steve Gasvini didn't return our calls. Leon County records show his company and other family members associated with Sandco have been regular contributors to John Marks' mayoral campaigns of the maximum amount allowed by law, $500. And in 2006, Steve's father, Hoss Gasvini, who also works at Sandco, was issued a $500 refund by the Marks campaign because he'd given too much money during the election cycle. In a Sandco letter Steve Gasvini wrote to Airport Operations, he explained one major reason for the switch from Florida Fence to Phoenix was because Phoenix was a Certified Minority Business Enterprise, or MBE. That letter was written in 2003, but records show Phoenix was not certified as an MBE by the city of Tallahassee until 2005.
Do you have an opinion about why that might have happened?
Not specifically. I mean, it just. I don't want to say.
Yeah,
I don't want to say anything to get me into any trouble, but yeah, it was kind of fishy. Is all I can say.
With the Rose Bowl pending, Jameis Winston has helped lead FSU to a second unbeaten season. He's also done it after an accuser filed a sexual misconduct complaint against him in August before the season started. In his 20 years' experience, Tallahassee attorney Tim Jansen says he's represented FSU students in over 100 conduct hearings. He says typically with any sexual offense, violent crime, or drug dealing accusation, FSU gives the student what's called an interim disciplinary action, or IDA, before the conduct hearing takes place.
And they're not allowed to perform any extracurricular activity. They're allowed to go to class and take their exams.
Jansen says he can't think of one case he's had when a student has faced a sexual misconduct accusation and did not get an IDA.
Almost every time there's an IDA, that means no extracurricular activities, which would include sports, correct?
Yeah, that's fair to say. That is my experience. That's pretty fair.
According to records Eyewitness News exclusively obtained, in 2011, 12, and 13, there were a total of 29 sexual misconduct cases. Sexual misconduct includes behavior ranging from sex acts without consent to unwelcome harassing comments. In 18 of those cases, the student was found to have violated FSU's conduct code. 5 other cases are still pending. Over that same 3-year time frame, FSU handed out 120 IDAs, 4 times the number of sexual misconduct cases.
You get an IDA, you're not going to participate in anything but school.